Hello, everybody. I am Lisa Sabaniak from lifelikeyoumeanit.com. And today in our Facebook Live, I thought I would talk about the difference between being tolerant and being taken advantage of. So this was inspired by one of my Facebook group, Melanie, by one of her requests for something that she is struggling with. And I think a lot of people struggle with this. It doesn't matter if you have a past that has abuse or trauma in it. I think that genuinely speaking, as nice, decent, kind, caring individuals, there's a lot of us that put a lot of effort into believing that other people have good qualities, right? That even if they show us some negative traits, that we believe that at the core, they are a good person. So that's what I would like to talk about today is, what do we do when we are believing this, we're hoping for this, and it seems like we're maybe being taken advantage of. So before we get started, I would love for you to click like or give a heart emoji, give me a comment so that I could try to answer any questions that you have on this. So essentially, we've got this situation where we have somebody in our lives that maybe it's that we see the potential in them. Maybe they were a very kind, caring, loving person at some point that we knew them, and now they've kind of taken a darker turn. Maybe things don't seem to be working out for them. Right now, they seem to be going through, a bad patch, and we know what they could have been because that's what they were before. And so if they were that wonderful person before that were able to make things happen for themselves, they were a go-getter, whatever the case may be, we have faith that if they just have some help and some support, that they will go on and be able to do that again. Maybe it's somebody that's a little bit more new to us, and so we don't actually have any recollection of them being this better person that we imagine of them, but we still seem to see the inside of them. We seem to see their potential. We see the person that they could be, and so we're putting every effort that we can behind them to try to support them. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that at some point we do have to accept the person that they are, not the person that we hope that they will be. And so really the point comes when we have to see if it is hindering our own growth, our own healing, our own selves, right? If the effort that we're putting into this person isn't paying off and it really makes no difference to us whatsoever, well, then, that's a different decision to make versus, this is somebody that perhaps you're trying to have a relationship with, somebody who is constantly letting you down, somebody who is maybe putting you in danger or compromising your safety in some sort of way. Maybe it's somebody who's compromising your financial security in some sort of way, right? So if it is starting to affect you in a negative way, then that is a clear sign that they might not be taking advantage of you. You might still be practicing tolerance with them, and they are a decent, kind person that deserves to have that tolerance, except it's now starting to actually have a negative effect on you. And so at that point, you need to put yourself first, and you have to come up with a way that you can feel good about the fact that you are either walking away from them or that you are still helping them, but without actually having the negative impact that that person is having. And so what I would really like to talk to you about today in terms of this is what we're getting from practicing this tolerance, right? So whenever we do anything in our lives, it is because we get something from it, right? We get a sense of love or security or worthwhileness, a sense of value, a sense of respect, acceptance, something, right? Something from every single thing that we do, including this. So if we've got that person in our life that we are really determined to see that they have this better quality than what they're showing us, what is it that we're getting from that? And obviously each person is different and each person knows exactly what I'm talking about because we've all had this happen, right? We have all been in this particular situation where there's somebody that we are trying to help out and it's kind of backfiring on us a little bit. And so that's fine. Each of our reasons for what we are getting from it is going to be different. But I'll tell you what I got from my experience with this. So I used to make that classic bad boy decision where I would end up choosing a completely wrong partner for me. They weren't able to give me the emotional love that I deserved. They just weren't there for me emotionally at all. Maybe they weren't able to handle the abuse that I had been through before. And so they just weren't there as an actual physically supportive system for me. Maybe they were cheaters, liars, that kind of basic issue, that bad boy type of look to it, where you can't explain why you want to be with this person. But I can explain why I wanted to be with that person. And that was this: I had no self-worth. I had no self-value. I had no sense of self-love. I was looking externally for those three needs to be met. I was looking for somebody else to show me what they looked like. And deep in my subconscious, whether I was willing to admit it at the time or not, me sticking with them and trying to give this relationship feet and trying to accept them for who I thought that they could be when really they were showing me who they really were. But me choosing to ignore that and look for this person that I, wanted them to be so desperately was really my need for them to make a change, to show me love, respect, worth, and value of myself. And somehow, if they were able to love me, if they, as this bad boy person, was able to love me, then I must really be worth loving. And there you've got it. My need being met. All they had to say was those three little words: Lisa, I love you. Okay, that's 4. And I was a sucker. I would tolerate and tolerate and tolerate. Right? Until I would finally realize that I deserve better than this. I had to try to find my own love, my own worth, my own value within myself before I could expect somebody else to show me that. And once I did, my whole world changed to be able to realize the difference between being taken advantage of and trying to help somebody who genuinely and truly deserved that help, needed that help, and wanted that help. Right? All of my other experiences up until that point were literally bad boy experience or bad relationship in some sort of sense, whether it was a friendship, a family member, or a relationship I was trying to kick off the ground, right? Where they were trying to get their needs met and I was trying to get my needs met. And we were both going about it in a self-serving way without being able to realize the needs of ourselves, right? And so when we're looking at this question, I think that is the very first thing that you have to look at. If you've got somebody that is draining you, hello, Cheyenne. I hope I'm saying that right. So if you've got somebody in your life who is seemingly perhaps taking advantage of your kindness, but you're not entirely sure, maybe it's that you are just a very tolerant person and that you are really dedicated to giving them help that they need. My very first question is to ask you to look within and discover what it is that you are getting from helping them. It might be that you are just getting the satisfaction of being able to help another human being because somebody offered you that love. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it starts to go deeper than that, if you start to realize, hi, Melanie, if you start to realize that, this is something different from that this is that if I put effort into this person and try to help them be successful, that is somehow going to increase my value and my worth, well, then we need to look at this a little bit further. We need to actually look at, is this person worth it? Right? Because you trying to get your need met by putting somebody else in place of yourself, right? You're trying to get your need met of being worthy, being loved, being valued, being worthwhile, whatever it is, in the control of somebody else. You can't control what they do, right? You can't control their actions or reactions. You can't even control whether or not they will accept your help, right? And that a lot of times is the big frustration, that you are there offering a shoulder, offering maybe money, offering, advice, whatever. And part of the problem is that they're not even taking it. You can't control that, right? You are putting yourself in that position of being an opportunity for them to seek help, to have the advice, to have the comfort, to have the security, and you can only control your action in that. You can't control whether or not they are going to react to it in a positive way. They may choose to react by taking that handout that you are offering and not using it for the purpose that you have set for it, and then leaving you feeling like you are being taken advantage of. Right? I would also stress here in this moment that if you have that thought that comes up, then that just might be your higher self just tapping you on the shoulder to say something is not right. The moment that you start to think that maybe this person is taking advantage of me and it's going beyond me just being tolerant of them learning and growing and healing and taking my opportunities that I'm giving them, as soon as you ask that question, then I would beg to suggest that somewhere in your subconscious, somewhere in your higher self, the universe itself is tapping you on the shoulder to say, you need to take a deeper look at this. The fact that you even need to ask the question gives you the answer right there. I hope that part is helpful. Melanie, Cheyenne, if you're still on, if you've got any questions on here that you want to post up, then I will be glad to have a deeper look at that. I'm so glad that you guys are here to join me on this. And Melanie, thank you for this suggestion for this post, because I think this is really, really important, right? So anybody that's missed then is just joining in. What we've been talking about is the difference between tolerance and being taken advantage of. And I've suggested that the first thing that we need to do is have a look within ourselves so that we can actually see what we are getting from offering this help or being tolerant of this person that is in our lives, and that also we cannot control whether or not they take us up on those opportunities, whether they use the opportunities we are giving them in the way that we are hoping. We have no control over that. All we do have control over is ourselves, whether or not we offer that help, whether it's coming from a place of genuine love, or whether we are actually looking to get something out of that in turn. Not saying that we are a bad person by any stretch of the imagination, but sometimes what we're really looking for is that person to be a certain way, do certain things, say certain things, because we need them to. We need them to show us our value, our worth, and our love. And that's not what they need from us. Right? Somebody who is truly looking for that help and truly wanting to get that help needs to have that help with no kind of string attached. They need to be able to be offered the chance to heal and to grow and to move forward, or whatever it is that you are offering them, to meet their needs, not yours. And so if you are truly in a place where you love yourself, value yourself, and find your own worth, then you are able to come from a place of service and offer that with no conditions attached to that. So Melanie says, sometimes family members trip me up in that I am being fair or loving enough. Am I being taken advantage of? Yeah, absolutely. I think family members, or even relationships that have lasted a long time, I think this is very, very difficult territory, because we teach people how it is acceptable to treat us. And once we've done that once, it's hard to break that cycle. So if there's been somebody, Melanie, in your family that genuinely has taken advantage of you, has seen your kindness, has seen that you are willing to go above and beyond for somebody else, and they have perhaps taken advantage of you, or they've seen that that other person is taking advantage of you, it's very easy for that now to be set in stone for them. And so then when they come to you for help or guidance, advice, money, whatever it is, you've already taught them in a way that they can overextend themselves in that asking you of help, right? They can overextend what it is they're expecting from you. And you have to reteach them in a way that you are coming from a place of service, but in having that connection with self, you also know what you deserve, what you are worth, what your value is, and you love yourself enough to not let their needs hinder you, right? To not let whatever it is that they need from you cause you to take a step back into a place of negativity. And if you can't offer them what it is that they need without that negativity happening, then you deserve to not be put in that position in the first place. And you deserve to be able to walk away from that with no guilt and no attachment. It doesn't matter that they are family. It doesn't matter that they are a lifelong friend. It doesn't even matter if they are your partner, right, in life, right? If we are all coming from a true place of service, if we are all coming from a true place where we love and value ourselves, we would never expect somebody else to take a step back in order to help us. We would never expect somebody else to put themselves in a place of insecurity, a place of lack of safety, a lack of love, a lack of whatever. Right? We would never, ever expect somebody to do that for us. So if somebody's asking that of us, then that is much more about them than it is about you, right? You may have taught them initially that you would be willing to do that because of a past experience, but we need to reteach them that you value yourself much more than to put yourself in that position. It doesn't mean that you can't offer them help. It doesn't mean that you can't offer them advice or to be there for them, but not in a situation where it actually puts you at risk for anything negative. Hope that makes sense. Do you have any follow-ups from that, or anybody else that wants to join in from that? I'll stay on for another couple of minutes and see. While I'm waiting for somebody else's comment to come about, if you are interested in being able to figure out, how do I find this love? How do I find the self-acceptance? How do I find this real security in myself to be able to know my worth and my value, so much so that I am unwilling to put it at jeopardy or put myself at risk in order to help somebody else, that I would have the confidence in myself to be able to say, I'm in this place where I'm actually questioning if this relationship is one of tolerance or one of being taken advantage of. How do I have the strength now to say, just in asking that question gives me my answer and it's time to walk away, right? So if your question is about the how of this, then if you're not a member of my group already, Facebook group called The Life You Deserve, I implore you to go and join that group. If you are part of that group, there are numerous different Facebook Lives that we've done, different resources that are out there on trying to build your confidence. And the very sure thing to be able to do this is the coaching program that I offer called Survivor to Warrior. And if you are thinking, I'm not quite sure if that's the right program for me, but I'd like to learn more, you can book a complimentary 30-minute discovery call with me. I've included the link in here, and you can book that on your own time, completely free, and we can have a bigger, deeper chat to be able to get to know you and to see if the program is right for you. So Melanie says that you enjoy helping. What they do with the info is on them. Sometimes others think I am being taken advantage of. Excellent. All right. So not the excellent that others that you're being taken advantage of, but excellent in that you understand that you don't have any control over whether or not they accept your help or what they do with the help that you are giving. That is perfect. That's what I like to hear. Other people thinking that you're being taken advantage of, in the end, it really doesn't matter what other people think. What matters is what you know. Right? So if you have that moment of doubt where you think that you're being taken advantage of, then that's the moment when you sit back and you take a look at the situation. And, oftentimes when I have a decision like that to make, I have to take my head out of it. And so what I do is I meditate, or I do a visualization, or I literally just tell myself, Lisa, I am not going to think about this. I'm just going to literally sleep on it, and I'm going to come back to it in a couple of days' time, and I'm just going to see what my gut tells me. How do I feel when I think about this person or this situation, right? And sometimes my biggest decisions in life I've actually made this way. I'm not even joking. My decision even to pick up and move to a whole nother continent without ever visiting, I made in that way, right? So certainly you can make that in this way as well. If you've got other people around you that are saying, I think they are taking advantage, and you think, well, no, I don't really see that, but now it gets that niggling worm in your head, then do that, right? See if you can meditate on it. See if you can just put it out of your mind for a couple of days. Maybe it's just a couple of hours is all you need, but where you make an actual conscious choice to not think about it with your brain and instead just allow yourself to naturally come back to it when you're ready, with a pact that you make to yourself to listen to your internal voice, listen to the higher self, listen to what your gut is telling you about that. And if your gut says no, they are just needing some more help, they're needing more guidance, right? Everybody can relate to that, right? My story of my personal journey for my healing and recovery was well over a decade long. I didn't have a single person other than my mom that stuck with me through that entire journey, right? And even now, as a full-grown woman who is married with stepchildren, even now there are things that come back up to kind of haunt me from that experience, that I will always be healing from my past abuse. And so that means that I am going to need to count on people, mainly my husband, who's in my life now, right, for the last 3 years, and hopefully for the rest of my life, that poor man is going to need to be very tolerant of the things that come up. It doesn't mean that I'm taking advantage of him. It means that I need more help, right? It is a constant journey for me. And so some of these people that are in your life, Melanie, and anybody else who is watching, you might find the same sort of thing, that they are just going through a very huge process that is not a cut and dry start and stop. It is something that they're going to go through for the rest of their lives. And so you can offer them support for as long as it is helping you as well, as long as it is coming from a place of service for you and is not hindering you in any way. You can offer them that help for as long as you feel comfortable with. And to heck with what anybody else thinks about that, because maybe they have never received that kind of help and support before. Maybe in their heart, they would actually be the one that would take advantage, right? Sometimes we project things onto another situation because it's how we would deal with it. It's what we would see in that situation, right? Another classic example of that would be cheaters, right? People who are constantly after their partner for, are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me? Sometimes that's because they've been cheated on by everybody that they've ever been with. So they're projecting that. Other times it's because they themselves are cheaters and they're projecting that, right? Sometimes it's just that they are completely insecure, right? And so what they need is to think that they've got a cheater on their hands that would never cheat, because then that shows them their value and their worth, right? So whatever that situation is that you've got going on, Melanie, in particular with your family and whatnot, that inspired this whole Facebook Live talk today, you need to go within and, forget what other people are saying. Maybe even take a look at the type of people that they are and how they approach getting their needs met. Maybe they are projecting that onto you, or maybe they're seeing something that you yourself are not seeing, and in which case you need to go within as well. It always starts from within. How you feel about yourself, how you go about getting your own needs met, and what those needs are to begin with. So I hope that really helped. We're at the 24-minute mark here, so I think we probably have everybody on that is going to be on. I hope that helped you, Melanie, in particular, but anybody else who was watching this live and will watch the recording of this. Bless. Find your way to my Facebook group, The Life You Deserve. If you haven't already, go ahead and book your free discovery call if you have not done that already. Bless. Have a fabulous rest of your day.